This is our shot. Here we go. We're going to go get him. We're going to go get him. This is it. We need it, baby. Yeah, baby.
Oh, yes. Woo! Yeah, baby.
This is the Sport Fishing Championship.
And as you've seen, we've got action on the board of the Sport Fishing Championship. It's the fourth stop of 11, the Gulf Coast Masters from Orange Beach, Alabama. The southern coast of Alabama and the Gulf of Mexico plays host this weekend for one of our Gulf Division events. You see our cameras out on the water trying to get you all the coverage for all 3 days of tournament action on sportfishingchampionship.com as well as CBS Sports on Sunday morning. Boy, do we have some fish catches already after day number one. Again, they took off yesterday morning, a shotgun start, and Bandito, who had a 0 on the tournament at our first stop in the Gulf, now have 2 blue marlin on board. You see their leaderboard right now as it stands. Welcome, everyone, to the Sport Fishing Championship and the Gulf Coast Masters. I'm Robbie Floyd with Ronnie Miller. We'll be joined in just a moment by Peter Miller. And boy, I talk about the shotgun start, Ronnie. It was a mass exodus out of Perdido Pass.
It was. The excitement was building as those people left Orange Beach. They knew, hey, we're going to take off all at one time. The strategy, do we stay close? Do we lay back? Do we try to get out as the first boat? A lot of strategy there, depending on the boat size. Depends on what you're going to do, Robbie.
A lot of ways to skin this fish, if you will. But again, they took off en masse yesterday. Again, helicopter and by boat.
The Masters tournament uses a shotgun start approach. So what happens is, you have boats from different marinas, different local areas who all gather right outside the pass.
And there's basically a flare or a signal given over the radio. Everybody pretty much running guns to see who can get out front.
It can get a little hectic at times. You got to pay attention.
It's balls to the wall, adrenaline. Everybody give it, push it to the pins. Who's the fastest? See who can get out there the first.
It's fortunate for the faster boats. They can typically take an advantage of that. They can get to the fishing grounds a little faster and do things. And then some of us who are a little slower, we can see where they're going, I guess. So it's advantage either way you look at it. But it's pretty unique and nice to see.
48 boats left Orange Beach Marina yesterday and are out there fishing on day 2 here today. Robbie Floyd, Ronnie Moore, and Ronnie, that was a crazy start, but again, it was only indicative of what we were going to see the next 3 days.
It was. I mean, you got to get to the grounds, like they said, the fishing grounds first. Some of the teams that get there, hey, we said about 200 miles of playing field they could possibly go to, and Bandito, the first team on the board, about 100 miles out. That's about 3 hours of running time for a lot of these teams, Robbie, and they got started early. First hour of the day, they caught 2 really quick. So, hey, the run is important, but catching them is even more important.
Making that run also have to have the fuel. I want to talk to a guy who probably is running on empty right now. I'd like to welcome into our show Peter Miller. And the reason I'm saying this is you and your wife, Alessia, a brand new baby. Maverick is born this week, already at home, and you've got to be tuckered out by now.
I am a little, excuse me here, I don't even have a voice. I am a little tuckered out, but I'm happy to be here talking about fishing because it's what I love. But I tell you, having a new son with my new wife, Alessia, and having Maverick is the coolest thing ever. It's bringing me back to those emotional moments that I haven't seen in quite a while, but absolutely love it. And I feel very fortunate. Thank you.
You're your first keeper of the week, and I see all the trophies in the background. There's, I don't need to introduce you as a 3-time World Sail Fishing Champion. I'm sure that you've left many times on a shotgun start like that. We talked about fuel strategies for some of these guys, having to run the bladders, and just how that could affect you on that initial start. What's it like sitting in that chair as you take off with 40-plus boats around you?
Well, I'll tell you, when you get in these starts, it depends how many boats there are. If there's 20 boats, that's okay. 30, 40. I've been in some starts with 110 boats. And I've been in a small center console back when I first started my sail fishing career. And I remember being in a government cut with an outgoing tide, with an incoming wind. The waves were cresting at like 6 to 7 feet. And I'm pumping out on one engine. And I got sport fish boats all around me throwing wake into my boat. And all of a sudden I spun a hub. And now I'm out. I'm just drifting in the middle of all this, bobbing back and forth. And the only way to get out of it was throwing it in reverse to get around the cut to survive and not sink the boat. So that was my first experience with a shotgun start. But what they talked about was exactly what it is. It's like you have the fast boats that get out there for, if you want to catch mahi, you want to be the fast boat. For marlin, you have a little more time. You're not going to be fishing on top of each other. So some of these guys are going 60, 70 on the small, like in the center console boats, and some guys are going 40, 42 in these big sport fish boats. So it's kind of a give and take, and it's anyone's game. And you see, a couple boats have 2 fish already, and whatever they did it well.
Again, making that run and your strategy here as well. And we're seeing multiple species here as well this weekend again. But that shotgun start is going to be special. We'll see that throughout the year. I'm not sure if they do it at the next stop in Biloxi. I know in Miramar, that's probably a 100-boat launch as well. Strategies for you. I mean, did you play your game plan to that? I mean, do you say, okay, if I'm going to stay in for some of these subspecies, I'm going to stay a little shorter and maybe get there quick? I mean, how do you approach it going into day 1 of the tournament? Because you have to have a plan.
Well, if you have a plan, you got to stick with it. But if something happens where you have like a malfunction, you got to kind of work around with it. You got to work around it. If it was a mahi, if it was a official, if you want a tuna, mahi, yellowfin, you're going to work differently than the marlin guys for the most part. But what we did is we got the prop fixed, went back out, set up in one of my favorite spots and caught a doubleheader sailfish the second we put the baits in the water. It was like one of those miraculous moments. And we wound up winning the first place in the amateur division back in like 1990 in my little 25-foot boat against all these giant boats that almost sunk me. So it's pretty intense, but you got to follow the plan. And if you have a problem, you got to back it up and get down to business.
Hey, they're not looking for sailfish. They'll catch some if they want. They're looking for blue marlin out there yesterday as well as today. And heading out in their 65-foot Jim Smith was Team Bandito. This is day number 1. Yesterday, Bandito makes a pretty long run, at least outside that 100-mile marker. Again, this is a team that didn't catch anything at the last tournament, and they come out hot and trying to get that first blue marlin, which is an extra 100-point bonus. They're looking for 350 plus that 100.
Bobby and I used to fish together on a center console, and we've made our way to this big, beautiful boat, and we're still having fun together. I haven't been on the boat in a few years because I had a baby last year, so we've got a 1-year-old, but I'm glad to be back out here catching fish.
Oh, hey. Oh, stop! He's right here! Put the fish right out! Put the fish out! He's all over it! Blue marlin! Reel it in, Ashley! Let him have it, Ashley! Let him have it! Give it some slack! Give it some slack! Give it some slack, Ashley! All right, put it in gear! Put it in gear, Ashley. Don't get crazy, Ashley! He's not hooked good! Can I go in reverse? You ready, Ashley? Yeah. Let's go! Hey, we need a tag on this fish. This is gonna be meet and quit. Get him, Ashley! Get him, Ashley! Get him, Ashley! Let's get him, girl! Get him, Ashley! Stay with him, Ashley. All right, nice and easy, guys. We got him up and down. Let's be nice and easy. Nice and easy. How much drag we got on it?
Drag, 18 pounds.
All right, keep it.
We're good, we're good. All right, hold on. Okay, learn how you cook, guys. Bump it up a click or two?
No. I want to see him get up and get going.
I think it's more like 16 or 17.
Let's let him get up, and then we'll see what we're dealing with.
It's not at the top of the mark?
All right, here we go, Ashley. Going in reverse. Here we go. This is our shot. This is our shot, guys. This is our shot. Here we go. We're gonna go get him. We're gonna go get him. This is it. We need it, baby. Here we go, Ashley. This is it. There he is right there, guys. Everybody just stay with me. Way to go, guys. Y'all wanted to go blue marlin fishing, here we are. That's a great tag fish, guys. Get him, Ashley. Get him, baby.
Dad. Oh, let's get something. He's coming this way. He's coming this way, Dad.
Open the door, Alex.
Open the door.
He's right there, Alex.
Right there.
Great tag fish. Here we go, Alex. That's how Bandito rolls. Rail, go, rail. Rail, go. Boom, baby.
All right, guys. You don't like that, buddy?
Open the door.
That is Bandito getting it done with a nice size marlin. Just like he said, it's a release marlin, a big fish, not the one, you're keeping. We're releasing everything here. And they did a phenomenal job. Bandito missed a few shots in the last tournament, but boy, they came on strong with this. And she wound like a champ. If you notice in the beginning of that clip, she was winding and the captain said, back off the drag. We're going to bump forward. I think there was another fish in the spread and she backed off the drag because they had to pull forward. You don't want to put too much tension on the one you have on. And they were trying to bait up a second one. That's what that's my prediction. That's what I think may have happened, but I'm just watching this video, but very exciting. Got my heart pumping, That water coming in, big fish on the leader. That was some good work.
I got chill bumps watching that, experiencing that with them. That's what it's all about at the Sport Fishing Championship. And we've seen a female before. I was Michelle Hargroder, I think, at the first stop when we were at Venice with a catch there. Exactly right. I mean, that's a ballet. You talk about it's a dance. Ronnie, don't get to experience that. You've been there before. Asking about the drag pressure. I mean, everybody's working together, backing it in. We saw some mishaps before. That was a perfect catch and release.
That's a well-oiled machine. You saw everybody exactly working and with perfect timing, and it just looked and worked out perfectly. The guy's on the leader, everyone's taking video, she's winding like a champ. The captain's giving specific instructions as to what needs to be done and what's happening at all times. Everybody knew what was going on. Everyone was on the same page.
Chad Solomon leading that vessel. You heard him say, don't get crazy, don't get crazy. It's time to get crazy at the Sport Fishing Championship. It's day number 2 of 3. We'll get to meet the Gale Force twins, see what they have to say when we return on the other side of the break. It's good to have a catch. Bandito is on top.
Whether you like to ride the wind, find your secret cove, or reel them in, plot your paradise with GPS Map Series from Garmin.
Remember, everything begins in the morning. Every story told is a fisherman's tale. We build watches tough enough to be a part of that tale. The perfect balance of beauty and brawn. We are Seaholm. Watches that last a lifetime. Seaholm Automatic, the official timepiece of the Sport Fishing Championship.
Yeah, baby! That's what I'm talking about! Sport fishing anglers from around the world competing for $1 million. The Sport Fishing Championship on CBS Sports Network.
See it, live it, love it. The largest in-water boat show in the world, the Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show. More than 3 million square feet, fishing boats to super yachts, engines, accessories, learning experiences, and culinary delights. Save the dates, October 26th through 30th. Details at flibs.com.
It all comes back to the water. This binding agent. This fluid history of connection. Past, present, and future, all tied together through this never-ending, unwavering force. We belong to a community of seekers, anglers, and everyone in between. For us, it's more than fishing, much more. It's who we are, who we were, and who we aspire to be. We are Smith.
SFC coverage of the Gulf Coast Masters is brought to you by Salt Life, Seaholm Watches, and by Smith Optics.
Already fish on the board in this tournament. We're on the second day of 3. Day 1 kicked off in a big way for Team Bandito. They weren't robbed this week like they were at the Gulf event at Venice. But here at Orange Beach, Alabama, you have a playing field to deal with. That is the Gulf of Mexico. Ronnie, we've got 8 different camera boats out there, and a lot of them are going to similar areas that we saw when they launched from Venice.
Yeah, they were obviously, this tournament is a little more easterly, but they made that trek out a little bit west towards Mississippi Canyon. And really looking at that last catch, Robbie, from Team Bandito in the last segment, the clear, concise communication, that's exactly what you want to hear from a captain to the crewmates to the angler that's actually reeling in the fish. Clear communication, and that is what helped them succeed in taking the early lead, not only catching the first blue marlin, but catching the first 2 blue marlin and getting 800 points on the scoreboard.
And the thing is, when we're looking at that map, we're not giving exact locations, but general areas that those boats are going out there, but several of them are outside that 100 ring. Even we saw Patron, they were the farthest. We'll see how they do with that decision. But again, the Gale Force twins are eyes and ears on the ground at each and every one of the stops that they can make it to. And it's not just about catching fish, it's about how you tease up those fish as well.
We're in Orange Beach, Alabama right now with Captain Blake from Team All In Fishing. Right now you're preparing for the Gulf Coast Masters Tournament, targeting billfish, specifically blue marlin.
This is the chain we'll pull. This we'll put on one side, and generally what we'll do is we'll actually pull four teasers. We'll pull 2 chains off the riggers, and then we have 2 LPs, 2 electric reels, and we'll pull some bigger stuff, something like that.
So these basically, they don't have any hooks in them, and they're called a teaser for a reason because it teases the fish up to the boat, and there's no hook, so it's strictly. You'll have your teaser out with no hook. Your fish will come up to the teaser, and is that when you're going to grab your live bait and try to pitch that right in front of your marlin?
Yeah. So sometimes we'll throw a live bait, but sometimes we'll throw a dead bait. You know, it just kind of depends. If it's a white marlin, it comes up. We keep a 30 pitch, a 50 pitch, and an 80 pitch ready, so that we can kind of cover whatever comes in the spread, whether it be.
And just so our viewers understand, 30, 50, and 80 is the size of the reel. So the 30 is going to be smaller, a 50 is going to be bigger, and the 80 is going to be even bigger.
That's right.
So if you have a massive marlin come up, you're going to grab that 80 pitch bait. If it's a white marlin, you'll probably grab that 30.
And white marlin are the smaller species of marlin. Blue marlin get significantly larger than those weights.
Right.
All right, let's talk about the riggers.
So you got your rigger right here. So this whole thing is going to come down and out like wings almost on the side of the boat. And these clips are, is this where you're going to, how are you going to rig your teaser into the clips?
So actually the teasers won't go into any of the clips. So the teaser will actually attach to this snap swivel. The snap swivel will go through this ring, and we'll run it up to the desired height where the teaser's working real well, and then and then I have the bridge teasers up top, and I can control them in and out. And we like to fish our bigger lures or bigger baits, going for a blue marlin specifically. I mean, white marlin don't have a problem firing up on those big baits too, but some people like to fish short riggers. We fish our flat lines or the rods that are close, the lures that are closest to the transom. We actually fish them off our short riggers because we fish 5 lines when we're trolling. But so yes, when we're live baiting, we'll have a left and a right, and if we're trolling, we'll have a left long, left
a rod
short.
will go in this rod holder right here.
That's right.
The line will come out. This would technically be more, on an angle like this.
Right.
The line will come through the clip, out back behind the boat, and as you're trolling or bump trolling, whatever you're doing, the fish will come up, and then when it takes that bait or lure, this clip will actually snap.
Open up.
Yeah, it'll open up, and then the fish can have it, and you become tight on the rod.
That's right.
Well, it's not as easy as it looks. And again, a lot of people think they can just go out there and fish. It's not about that. The Gale Force twins, welcome back, ladies, Amanda and Emily. There's a lot to it. I mean, I had my notepad out. I'm trying to take notes. How much did you learn listening to Captain there? I mean, it is not easy work.
No, we learned quite a bit talking to Captain Blake, and what is similar to a lot of marlin tournaments is they're going to be fishing with teasers, whether you're in the Atlantic or the Gulf. And I don't know if we had this moment, but Captain Blake was telling us that, he'll have teasers basically up at the helm with him that he's in charge of, and then there's teasers down in the cockpit that the mates are in charge of. So they've got 4 teasers going on, teasers attached to electric reels, so that when that fish comes up into the spread, the mates down below or the captain in the helm can pull that teaser up closer to the boat, and that's basically teasing the fish straight up to the back of the boat. And that electric reel will actually bring that teaser in even quicker than if they were doing it by hand. So it's a really quick process if you're on that deck of the boat. When that teaser comes in, another crew member is ready with a pitch bait to pitch to that fish. Exactly, and these boats will have basically pitch baits ready to go. So whether that's a live bait or a dead bait, a pitch bait is bait that's basically inside the boat waiting, whether it's a dead bait, usually it's on ice, it could be a live bait in the tuna tube, whatever it is, and usually the captain will yell down into the deck at the mates and say, all right, we want to throw the 80 pitch, which would be the biggest pitch, and they would throw that out in front of the marlin. And the idea is the marlin can eat that, so they can control what bait the marlin sees by having teasers with no hooks.
Amanda, Emily, it just seems what I've noticed from looking at Team Bandito's catches from yesterday, listening to Captain Blake with Team All In, the communication that the captains and the crews have to have, not only rigging the teasers and throwing them out there and getting them arranged, but then also pulling them in at the right time and getting the actual lines out to hook the fish. Communication between teams has to be pristine for all of this to come together. Is that what you've noticed? Some of these really seasoned teams do well at the communication aspect.
Communication is so unbelievably important. Even some teams will actually wear headsets. So instead of yelling at each other around the deck, everyone's talking at a very regular volume level, and it makes things a lot more calm and a lot easier to understand people, and you're just casually having conversation, even though it's an intense moment. Now, some teams don't have those headsets, and you do have to be loud, because if you're not loud, those engines are running. You have to use your outside voices when you're on these boats, and your communication has to be key. Something we loved watching was seeing that Bandito had a lady angler and a junior angler catch the first 2 blues of the tournament, and we always say that lady anglers, I'm sure many of the fishermen watching will agree that lady anglers are some of the best anglers because they're known for having finesse. They're not forcing the fish into the boat. And you heard the captain talking to Ashley on Bandito saying, slow down, easy, because you really have to be careful. You don't want to put too much drag on this fish and rip that hook out of the fish's mouth. You want to ease the fish to the boat for that release.
It's ironic that you're pushing the lady anglers, being lady anglers yourself. It's amazing that you would do that. Hey, one other thing is, and you talked about it and you mentioned it a little bit, the technology just in the reels themselves with these teasers. And we heard that in that fish catch with Bandito. You heard the electric reels going off. It's not a mad scramble. You saw, how she was whining, but you take care of that when you're dealing with the electronic reels on the sides.
Those electric reels definitely can be a game changer. It's another piece of equipment that you do have to learn to use, just like the sonar that we were talking about yesterday. There's a lot of equipment, and you definitely have to know what you're doing and what buttons to push at the right time, because in those hectic moments, I will say that something that might seem really simple, when it's time to complete the task, when there's a fish on, can become, you get a little scrambled in the brain. It's like, oh my goodness, what am I doing? You're looking at that electric reel and you say, well, was I supposed to push the red button or black button? I don't remember, but I know I got to bring this teaser in. But these guys are trained. They practice, they pre-fish, they do tournament after tournament, so they know what they're doing out there.
I'd like to thank the Gale Force Twins. Thank you, ladies, as always, on site with Site One. We look forward to catching up with you later on today, as well as a couple of times tomorrow.
And they were exactly right, Robbie, when it comes to those. We got some catch alerts, Robbie.
Do you hear that beautiful sound, Ronnie? Crawgator this morning at 7:07, or that was actually yesterday.
Into the evening time.
Yesterday, but that works into towards today. We're down at the bottom, skin deep at 7:23 Eastern, caught one. And the thing is, they have to be generally around those rigs, those platforms. Everything seems to be based around those areas.
Yeah, and the rigs are obviously the structure that some of these teams are going to be around. But we're to talk about Team Bandito and Ashley, Peter Miller, when it comes to the communication level, I mean, they said, hey, easy, you don't want to pull the hook out of the fish's mouth. But then you also, when it comes to it, backing that boat up, the perfect communication there. We're going to see that also with Crawgator.
Yeah, it's exactly right there, Ronnie. And you want those headsets so you can speak calmly and clearly and nobody panics. And they were describing it perfectly. They're hooked up with a fish. A lot of times the bait will stay with those oil rigs, and then they'll push off and they'll move with the current, and then the marlin will move off the rigs, and then they'll come back sometimes later in the day. But they all have their kind of patterns that they run. But inevitably, you will find bait. You will find good things around those rigs.
Crawgator, the angler on board there, just happens to own Venice Marina. That would be Bill Butler. And having a fish on early on the first day, that's a big bonus. It's actually later on in that first day, but they're hearing those fish calls, the fish catches, and there weren't that many up until this point. Then things kind of picked up a little bit, but when you're one of the first, you're going, okay, I'm doing something that somebody isn't.
Look at that son of a gun. Woohoo!
Robbie, it's very interesting seeing some of the time windows, the time frames. We saw Bandito go back-to-back within an hour time frame for the first two blue marlin of the tournament. Then we get to the evening and we see one at 6:30, one at 7 o'clock. Then this morning we saw 3 in the first hour and a half. And over the last hour, Robbie, we've seen numerous sailfish and blue marlin. So maybe this is the time of the day that's getting very key. Peter, have you noticed that when you're out there and you get around the right conditions, the right structure, the right groupings of fish, you can get right in a hurry?
Come on, gal.
Yeah, they definitely light up at a certain point of the day, and if you could focus on that and drill down on that, you want to just keep deploying baits as fast as possible, get those releases as fast as possible. Another beautiful fish coming to the boat on Crawgator here. It just gets me so stoked to see this. And now he's got his measuring device out. He wants to see how big the fish is. They get a guesstimate on it, and those are pretty effective. It's basically like a rod with monofilament and a lure at the end, and you drag it in the water from the jaw to the end of the tail, and you can get a call on it. You can get a rough estimate. That's a good fish right there.
Captain Eric Chandler put them on them.
Fish.
Yeah, Captain Eric Chandler definitely put them on them, and looking for those blue marlin. There are white marlin to be caught in this tournament. We've already seen a couple of sails as well. I want to remind everybody that this is a catch and release tournament for us on the Sport Fishing Championship. Within the individual tournaments, they have their own things. Sometimes they do bring in fish, but as far as the Sport Fishing Championship, every fish is a catch, a release, so you can go back out there and possibly catch that fish, or your buddy can catch that fish some other day down the road.
Catch one more little while. Way to go, Captain! Good job, Skip. Good job, Andre. Man, we're doing good, cuz. First day out here. It was a little sloppy this morning. Made a few runs. We run all the way down to 989. Water got a little green. Tried to make a little move down there, but it didn't happen. Swung back out here and caught one here in about an hour. So it's a great day down here in Venice. Good job, man. Great job.
Got that Arkansas accent.
Well, hey, he said that. He specifically said their game plan. They went to one area and did not pay off for them early, so they made a move, and within the first hour they did that. That is why their catch at 7:07 was after our evening hit yesterday, but they were able to get some kind of clue on what they need to do, and now they have good points going to add to their 6th place finish in the first event.
Have an update. Here's today's catches this morning. It's been on fire, and you see the blue marlin. You're also seeing several sailfish being caught. Quantified is on that sailfish bite. What's going on with them?
They are 3 sailfish, Robbie and Peter. 3 sailfish, but it's not as many points. 75 points per sailfish. But hey, that is points to their total. They are going to get catch points for this event.
Absolutely. All these points add up. All the catch points will add up to crown a champion at the end of the year in Puerto Rico, where someone will win $1 million. This is Sport Fishing Championship on sportfishingchampionship.com.
The Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation is honored to be the official charity of the Sports Fishing Championship. Through this partnership and the support of donors like you, future generations will enjoy and benefit from a naturally balanced ocean ecosystem. Our education programs, both in the classroom and online, bring to life the work needed to make sure we have clean oceans for decades to come. Join us today at www.ghof.org.
Sometimes saying no can be really difficult. It's hard to set boundaries, to give yourself space and time. Hop water means never having to choose between having fun or missing out. A sparkling hop water full of flavor and packed with mood-boosting benefits that's non-alcoholic with no calories, no carbs, and no sugar. So go out there and get up to no good.
Sport fishing anglers from around the world competing for $1 million. The Sport Fishing Championship on CBS Sports Network.
When you're serious, you are as excited to wake up for a 4 a.m. fishing trip as you were when you were a kid. It means winning 3 World Sailfish Championships. It means you know what you need and what you don't. Being serious means seeking out the ultimate fishing machine, which is what Peter Miller has found in the unmatched handling, speed, and comfort of an Invincible.
It's the simple things, like spending a day at the beach, splashing in the water, playing in the sand, and creating sandcastle masterpieces. Rediscover fun and family on the beautiful white sand beaches of Gulf Shores and Orange Beach.
SFC coverage of the Gulf Coast Masters is brought to you by Invincible Boats, Centered Wellness, and by Gulf Shores and Orange Beach Tourism.
Or they're catching the fish here on the Sport Fishing Championship from Orange Beach, Alabama. 9 blue marlin already caught. I believe about 12 in total billfish as Team Bandito takes the lead early on yesterday. They get that extra bonus 100 points for catching the first blue marlin and kind of trying to separate themselves with multiple blue marlin, though. That's why Bandito's in the lead running.
Yeah, when it comes down to the end of the season even, Robbie, if you have that extra 100 points going towards your catch total, and if they happen to win this event, that could be 100 points that helps them get closer to the team of the year for the Gulf Division and possibly the $1 million winning prize at the end of the year. But look at that. Yeah, everyone with 350 has 1 blue marlin. Obviously, Bandito with 2. And we've got some sailfish at the bottom of the leaderboard.
Bring in the new Papa again, Peter Miller, looking at Bandito. We saw that fish catch earlier with Ashley Wade, showing how to get it done. I mean, that was a flawless execution. Similar areas that we saw the teams fishing when they took off out of Venice. But as far as these anglers go, they're all trying to catch the blue marlin. If there happen to be sailfish in that area, they're going to be catching some sailfish as well. But everything seems to be based off of these platforms, these rigs. That holds the bait fish. And Peter Miller, you got to catch those bait fish if you're going to catch some big fish. And just like we saw with Ashley Wade, Tucker Wade had a fish on.
You know, this is something you love to see. You want to see these young kids getting in on it, and he's fighting a big fish. And this is a live bait right there being taken out of a tuna tube. And this is what you need. You need variety. You want a fast troll. You want a slow troll. You want different styles. You want blue water, green water, and then you want current. So you always have to be prepared for everything. But if you can catch these tuna, that's a nice, I believe, a yellowfin or black yellowfin tuna. It doesn't even fit in the tube. But as long as you get water pumping through their gills, you're going to be just fine. So, you know, you got to be prepared for everything, and obviously they know what they're doing because they're on them.
Yeah, trying to put 10 pounds of stuff in that 5-pound well. that is tough. All right, there's a little guy. We can use that one. And again, you got to catch the bait.
You'd be surprised.
I personally, I think I would enjoy just being out there. I need to be the bait guy. If you're baiting, I'm your guy. I'm a pro at it, Peter. But you saw that. What do you do in that case where you're trying to stick this big fish, bait fish, in a smaller tube like that?
Well, listen, as long as you can get their head into the tuna tubes, the amount of water that's being pushed through those tuna tubes is enough to push through their mouths, through their gills, and they're going to stay livelier than they would in any bait well ever. That water is thrusting, giving them oxygen, and that's exactly what you want. So they're prepared for absolutely anything. And let me tell you something, these big marlin will eat a 60-pound tuna, no problem if there's a big marlin out there. They're using 10, 20, 30 pounders, and you know, tuna love a chase. You know, they want to whack it, stun it with their bills, and then swallow it. They will spin it around head first. You let them drop back, they eat, they go away, and you slowly push up the drag. The circle hook inevitably will get them in the corner of the mouth, and you are on. It gives you even a little kind of extra, because when a circle hook is through the corner, it usually stays in.
Yeah, and that's what the circle hook is all about, is they're catching themselves. It doesn't gut hook them. Either way, keeps that fish alive. Ronnie, the billfish is not the only fish in the sea, and we've got some championship fish to talk about.
Yeah, the Invincible boats, yellowfin tuna. We got to see that from Daniel Landry and Team Rising Suns here in the Gulf for the first Gulf Division event over in Venice and Grand Isle. 139 pounds. Maybe the biggest blue marlin in the ocean will eat that one, but like Peter said, they like to eat the 10 to 60 pounders. But then we go over to the Wahoo division as well, where we saw the second stop take the lead in that one.
Yeah, Maricela Echeverria from the Corrales. I mean, that's a big fish. 73.5 pounds for that Wahoo leading. And again, the winner of the Wahoo, the Mahi Mahi, as well as that Invincible Boats Yellowfin Tuna category, each one of them could win $50,000, or somebody will win $50,000 at the end in Puerto Rico. I was really surprised we didn't see a Mahi Mahi at the first couple of stops, but we finally got one on the board at St. Augustine.
Yeah, 32.4 pounds from Contentment Blues and Reese Johnston, the captain there, knocking out this. And we actually got some footage of that Mahi Mahi. Setting the tone there, we mentioned it, all three stops have all set the tone and the bar for one of these championship division level fish. Hopefully we will see one of those maybe get surpassed this week in the Gulf for the Orange Beach event.
And we had seen several of Mahi Mahi caught, like little chicken dolphin or ones that you could actually use for bait. I mean, this is a pretty good sized fish, but a fish of that size, I'm bringing it in. I'm trying to win $50,000. I'm not using that one for bait.
Yes, they have the expectation that this could last for a few events for sure, and they need to buy some time maybe in the Atlantic division for this team Contentment Blues to maybe land another one to set their own mark. But yeah, those other chicken dolphin, they knew that those weren't going to last, but they were going to be helpful for the time being.
A 32-pound dolphin. That is a big fish. Bandito, we saw how they started their day with Ashley Wade. We actually saw Tucker out there catching some bait fish as well, trying to get that tuna. Let's stir them up even more. Let's go for that blue marlin. Let's find out what the Bandito can do on day one. Could they catch another one? One of the things is, Ronnie and Peter, is they had to travel out to their spots. It's been fairly calm seas. Are they talking about a little slop this morning, but yesterday, not too bad.
Get your cameras ready. We're going to do it again. Do it, Tucker.
Now, this is a 12-year-old, ladies and gentlemen. We've had a young lady on board, now a 12-year-old boy with blue marlin on the line.
Real Tucker! Not too bad, man. Hey, where's Tucker's camera? Real Tucker! Real Tucker! Real Tucker! Slow down, Ted. Get him, Tucker! Let's go get him, baby! Let's go get him! Get him, Tuck!
Fans at home, think about it. What were you doing when you were 12 years old?
Yeah, if there's a 12-year-old Peter out on one of these crews, you know that it's not his first go-around. He's been trained and he's grown up on a boat like this, fishing for fish like this.
I am absolutely floored by this kid's moxie, if you will, his gusto. He's a true champ. This kid at 12 years old pulling on a giant marlin, backing down like that with a big burly adults, calling out the shots. But listen, he is dialed in, he's focused, and he's doing what he needs to do with a nice size blue on. Wow. At 12 years old, I was probably picking my nose and probably playing a game of horse in my backyard.
Go, guys. Nice and smooth, Tuck. Be nice and smooth.
Well, great
nice
teamwork.
And smooth, Tuck.
And I've got a 14-year-old son. You see him reeling on the way down. I mean, he might be able to bench press 45 pounds.
The kid's a champ. Strong legs. He's, squatting the fish.
All right, he's going to come up. Hey, is that 300, Alex? 300? Here we go. Here we go. We're going again. Let's tag him.
Robbie, Peter, what's cool about this is Tucker, hey, he's been out there, obviously very well seasoned for a 12-year-old, but every blue marlin hookup could be his biggest. He does not have maybe that many to his total, so it's very neat to see that excitement from the crew for him.
That's right, Ronnie. This is a big deal for any angler, and to be a 12-year-old doing this, it's got to be, 10 times that, a million, a zillion, bajillion times the excitement for a kid like that. So impressive.
Gotta start somewhere.
Boom! Tag, baby!
There's the catch. There's the relief. And we've got another one on the board. That is a big blue marlin. Again, I've got a 14 and a 17-year-old. I don't know that they would have the moxie, as Peter put it, to do what that young man just did out there. We heard Damon Schwest, when they won the first event when Mon Cherie had like 1,600 billfish catches. This kid's on his way.
Action-packed early day one and day two already. We're seeing more and more sailfish and blue marlin come across the board, Robbie. As we speak, the updates are coming in as well.
Yeah, we had 4 fish within the past hour from the 10:10 to 10:45 range on the East Coast time. But Bandito started it off again. The family Wade getting it done. Ashley as well as Tucker Wade. Welcome inside our studios and the remote studio in Florida. Peter Miller, Ronnie Moore, I'm Robbie Floyd. That's what it's all about. I mean, family out there doing it, out there together, to have that opportunity, something that I didn't have. I know that you started at young age doing those, charter events when you didn't have your own boat, but you were out there living the life and your dreams.
Well, being able to catch billfish as a youngster, I caught my first sailfish at 10 years old, and that's what ignited my entire career in this arena. So my whole life became dedicated to bill fishing. It's my favorite thing to do, and we've been pretty good. We've done pretty well at it. But to see a 12-year-old catching a marlin in the chair, that's something I didn't see for quite a while. I had to earn my stripes, get to the right locations to be able to do that. So there he is, right in the seat, and he is in the driver's seat, if you will, and catching a big blue is special. So congratulations to Tucker. That is well done. Nice work, guys.
Peter, we've already seen a lot of catches from our teams that are out on the water, especially the ones that have cameras in their boat. And we're looking at that map and seeing how they're all they're not clustered close together, but they're all within that Mississippi Canyon region for the most part. Do you expect that to be a place that we're going to see factor the rest of the week? Or do you think someone like Team All In that's going to be a little more easterly could possibly come in if they get on the right rig?
Great question. And, sometimes the current, the temperature breaks and everything and the bait that can move. So you can work that area on a specific day and the next day they're not there. So you have to kind of run and gun and find where you're going to possibly get the bites.
Thank you, Peter, for all of the 411, all the info. You're going to be with us tomorrow at 10 a.m., I believe, Eastern time tomorrow on CBS Sports Network. They're catching them today. Things are hot, not only for blue marlin, but the sailfish as well. Let's take a look at how the points work. I mean, of course, the event points themselves. We pay the top 20 places, but if you win, you get $3,500. These points, they're set in stone. It's everything that's added onto that. The catch points, that's what adds up. You put your catch points, your event points together, and that's how we'll crown the champion from this event.
Yeah, looking at Bandito with 0 on the board in the Louisiana Gulf Coast Masters event there. Obviously, they wanted to get some points, but Bandito with 800 catch points this week, they add it to 3,500 if they become the victor. Obviously, they have to catch probably more to win this event, but that's already going to get you top 5 in the points race overall. And so Bandito's well on their way to a good event here. They just got to keep stacking them. When you have a good event, Robbie, you want to make it a great event, and that's the overall points for the Gulf Division.
Yeah, those points added, their catch points added to those event points would put them in the top 5. Again, the Gulf Division as well as the Atlantic Division, you will crown a champion. $100,000 goes to each one of those division winners. We will crown a champion at the end of the year for our SFC event. The overall, a $1 million prize will be awarded there. In the Sport Fishing Championship, it's day 2. We've got fish catches on air. The family, Wade, are just really tearing it up.
A day out on the water could go great. Or it could have a few minor setbacks. Things could get rough. Or you could lose that $900 smartphone. Whatever the problem, Yugo provides unmatched premium protection for any water sports adventure. Yugo. To get yours, visit YugoWear.com or simply scan the QR code on the screen. And remember, just add water.
Some call it joie de vivre, the joy of life. In Louisiana, it's our way of life. From music that shakes up your senses to food that wakes up your palate. That joy vibrates in every note we play and spices up every meal we serve. So come live life to the fullest. Come one, come y'all, come feed your soul in Louisiana. I'm Sean Ardway, inviting you to plan your trip at LouisianaTravel.com.
So, if you want this, but you can't have it without this, or this, or this. Until now, introducing a new way to travel, intranationally. Get all that international charm without ever leaving the country. Right here in St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra. Get all that culture, all the cuisine from that culture. You're welcome. All the gram-worthy sites from that hashtag culture. It's right here at home. St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra. Travel intranationally.
Slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. High blood pressure silently affects millions of Americans. Staying on top of your blood pressure is as simple as these 4 easy steps. Self-monitoring is power. Visit manageyourbp.org to learn more.
When it comes to performance, comfort, and functionality, we've got you covered. Performance apparel designed by anglers to make your time on the water better than ever. Salt Life, the official apparel sponsor of the Sport Fishing Championship.
Yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking about.
Sport fishing anglers from around the world competing for $1 million. The Sport Fishing Championship on CBS Sports Network.
SFC coverage of the Gulf Coast Masters is brought to you by Garmin, the Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation, and by St. Augustine in St. Johns County, Florida's historic coast.
12 billfish already on the boards in the first 24 hours of this fourth stop of the Sport Fishing Championship, based out of Orange Beach, Alabama. 9 blue marlin, 3 sailfish, and you see a couple of groups locked into those sailfish. They all add up. Let's take a look ahead with Smith Optics. Our next stop, not going to be too far from here, Roddy Moore, the Mississippi Gulf Coast Billfish Classic. We're going to see a lot of similar type fishing. The blue marlin's going to be key. Doing my research, or swordfish even possibly to be had. We have not yet to see one of those, one of our 5 billfish categories.
There will be no Biloxi Blues when we get there. It's going to be a great time for that next stop. You like that? It'll be the third stop of the Gulf Division. I think I will be in attendance there on site. Excited to see the teams that show up. Like we said, it's going to be a massive field, and they're going to be in similar playing grounds, like you said, that they are this week and in Venice. So we'll get a really good grip on what teams and what areas they like to hone in on for each of these Gulf Division stops.
You're heading to Biloxi. I think we need to get you out, maybe do a little pre-fishing. What do you think?
Yeah, I would love to hop in a boat.
Let's look back
a thing or two.
at the Northeast Florida Marlin Association Blue Water Tournament in St. Augustine. They had to move that event, originally scheduled at a time that Mother Nature didn't want to cooperate, so they had to move it, and a little bit later in the program, but half a buck proved that they were the best out of that, got their max points for the event. A few blue marlin caught, not quite the numbers we were seeing at the previous stop in the Dominican Republic, but half a buck, they were the best.
Yeah, and they really, coming into the St. Augustine event, we had our eyes on Team Half a Buck because they were the defending champions from 2021. They took the title there, and they really maintained control and their grip, I guess, on this event, winning back-to-back years.
Yeah, the defending champ with 3 blue marlin catches. Again, you get $350 for every blue. They didn't catch the first one, though, so they didn't get that $450. That 100-point bonus for the first blue marlin of the tournament. But 3 blues, that's strong in all of our tournaments so far. It's going to put you in the running.
Yeah, and it definitely has been at the top of the leaderboard for the Atlantic Division points, because obviously we have the Dominican Republic event, and that can go to each division depending on which one you want to fish. But a lot of white marlin, lesser point total per white marlin. The blue marlin are almost triple the point total for just one of those species. So getting the blue marlin in the boat, getting those top points for winning first place, then they're going to be able to go up north for the last 3 Atlantic events. So now they know where they sit. This is going to be it's an incentive for that $100,000 team of the year for that division.
Again, those 45.50 puts them in 4th place in the overall big picture. A little celebration dive there for half a buck. But yeah, Doña Lucy, from the previous round in the Dominican, with about 200 more, but the sheer numbers of those white marlin, that's what put them ahead. But again, you catch 3 blues, you're doing something right. And again, that extra 1,000 or so points could get her done.
And that's kind of the strategy, it seems, of which event you're going to go to, which division you're going to fish, which event you're going to fish, because obviously a quantity event might get you a lot of more catches, but a lot less points. Half a buck dominated. Obviously, 4,550 total points. You see that 1,050 catch points, 3,500 for taking the top spot.
Pez Vela was the boat that had that first blue marlin, and that's why you see the odd number there with them. You see the 75s. A couple sailfish caught there as well. But Doña Lucy leads the Atlantic Division, half a buck just behind. But again, 200 points. We're looking at what? A white marlin, a swordfish, or a white marlin, a sailfish. You got to look at them as numbers, but also types or varieties of fish as well. But we'll crown an Atlantic champion later on this year, as well as a Gulf champion as well.
That event in the DR is going to be a game changer, looking at how 1st, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th all are from the DR, 2nd and 7th in the points race from St. Augustine.
Well, we talk about the Gulf and the Atlantic divisions, but we're looking at the big picture. 11 events in total with the 2 divisions. You got to fish at least 3 events, whether it be Gulf or Atlantic. Top 20 teams we saw, they got their points, and then you add up all of those catch points from all of your tournaments. They might not be your best 3. All of those points added together, it qualifies you for that Billfish Championship at the end of the year. And where? Puerto Rico. I hope to be there, and we will award $1 million to our champion. Again, tying all the best of the best tournaments around the country in international waters as well. That's what the Sport Fishing Championship is all about.
That's going to be a highly anticipated. I love that SFC has taken all of these old school events that people want to come and fish, tied them into this points race. $1 million at the end of the year. Hey, Robbie, maybe I'll get on the Biloxi event. You can go out to Puerto Rico. We can all have 3 events combined for the $1 million.
They've been doing some of these for a long time, 90-plus years, I believe, for Padre Island. We're at the 4th stop of 11 at Orange Beach. We'll be back later on this afternoon at 6 p.m. Eastern on SportFishingChampionship.com. For Peter Miller, Ronnie Moore, I'm Robbie Floyd. We'll see you later on this afternoon. Banditos on top.